Please listen carefully.
Well, hello, universe, and welcome to the Optimist Daily Update. I'm Kristy Jansen.
And I'm Summers McKay.
We are part of the team behind the Optimist Daily, making solutions the news. We bring you reader-funded solutions news every day in order to change the tenor of news media, social media, and the direction of your day to one focused on solutions.
7 days a week, we publish positive news stories written by award-winning journalists and delivered online to your inbox and through our social channels. And also, we are sharing the solutions in a commute-worthy, walk-worthy, home office-worthy podcast. Today is Friday, the 16th of April, 2021. Good morning, Kristy. How are you feeling today?
I'm actually feeling a little bit under the weather because yesterday I got my second shot of the vaccine. So,
that's awesome. Okay, so just because there are probably some people out there who have not yet had their vaccines, tell us a little bit about it. What does under weather feel like?
Last night I was exhausted. I went to sleep super early. I got it in the afternoon, and then by 7 o'clock I couldn't keep my eyes open. So went to bed early. And then this morning I woke up feeling okay, although I have a tiny bit of a headache and a little bit of a just not right, like achy a little bit.
Right.
And so I was okay though, but when I took Tucker out for his walk, I felt really weird. And so, as long as I don't do too much, I think I'm okay. But who knows? Maybe I'm just suggestible.
No, I think there is a real physiological reaction to, vaccines, and that is your immune response, and that's what it's doing, what it's supposed to be doing, right? It's going to town, and the early antibodies that were established are now being sort of activated. So this is exactly what a vaccine is supposed to do. This is good, even though it is uncomfortable. And, I'm very proud of you, and I'm very excited that you have had your second shot. We were talking a little bit earlier in our pre-check-in, as you and Amelia and I guess our listeners know, I have been wrestling a bit with time, availability, priority, and access to getting the shot that I would like to get here in Texas. Moving to a new location, it's not been particularly easy. And I signed up for a number of lists, and I've reached out to local pharmacies as well as national pharmacies. And some of the measures and steps that we would have to take to get it, it's this arduous commitment of time to hunt down a vaccine. And it's really got me thinking, I have always been very pro-vaccine. You and I talked about that we gave Brennan her measles vaccine early at 6 months because of the outbreak that was happening at that time. And I proudly traveled the world with my yellow card, and I do recognize the value of vaccine passports. But I also am looking through a different lens right now in
terms of access. It's hard.
Exactly.
It's not like it's just easy to get. And I feel lucky that for whatever reason, even in the beginning, it was slow here, but it's opened up significantly. So, sorry, not in Santa Barbara.
Well, moving to any new location and setting up your healthcare structure in anywhere is always challenging. And I've finally found our pediatrician and a dermatologist, and my next hunt is an allergist. But I do really have a lot of respect for people who struggle with access to high quality healthcare. And it does really speak to the divide, I guess, between those who have and those who have not, right? Not that it is about abundance or income, but oftentimes access to healthcare is about those things. And it's something, ubiquitous access to high quality healthcare is something that just has to be a must.
And in this case, it's a funny thing because the way to access the vaccines is largely driven by your ability to have high speed internet and online computer facility.
Yes.
So that's another, even if it's super efficient at that level, there's a lot of people who don't necessarily have that access.
Right.
And that's another issue to be addressed, which, just thinking about that is important.
Exactly. It's the digital divide. And one of the recommendations that someone gave me is that you just need to be online at 3 a.m, hitting refresh. Well,
that's not really realistic. That's ridiculous. Yeah. And I mean, sure, there's like bots out there maybe, or there's some other program, or you have if you get your teenage kids to do it for you. I don't know. But you're a mother of a little kid who also leads a company, both you and your husband work full time. It's like you can't just be up in the middle of the night.
Exactly.
Refreshing your computer. So
well, but to you, congratulations on your second shot, and you will feel better. You'll hopefully have a little time to rest this weekend, and you'll be kicking.
It's not a panacea, but I do feel like it's, for me personally, one step closer to being able to be back in the world in a more secure kind of way.
Yeah.
And I look forward to that.
Well, one of the things that I've been thinking about, and this is the headline that I want to talk about today on the Optimist Daily, is those small things you can do to make changes or make commitments. Because sometimes it can be really overwhelming. And as we are looking about how we go back into the world, we're going to all have to sort of step our way back in. It may be time for us to step our way back into being more conscious consumers and having more conscious behavior about how we go back into the world. So the headline that I chose reads, 4 small ways you can be a more conscious consumer. Many of us are eco-conscious and make our best efforts at all times. And many of us have that in our mind and sometimes forget the little things we can do. And this article goes into just some really basic tactical things that can help you be more eco-conscious. I'm going to go really fast because Kristy's article is a little more meaty and a little more discussion worthy. But these quick reminders are: choose organic, right? Well, that makes sense. However, for those of us who are shopping on a budget, there is actually a Dirty Dozen guide to see where you should prioritize your organic spending if you can't buy everything organic. Mind the tap. Yes, guys, turn off the water when you are brushing your teeth or when you are doing dishes. Use less water. We all take it for granted that we have the privilege of having clean, fresh water pouring straight out of our taps, shower heads. It's actually a really, really valuable resource. So just use less of it. Rebuild, restore, regenerate. Now, this is about regenerative agriculture and knowing that buying from local farms that employ regenerative farming practices and growing a variety of foods in your own personal garden are great ways to support the future of food. This is sort of a lead into our greening up your kitchen theme week for next week at the Optimist Daily. But think about regenerative food. And last but not least, support from the ground up. Did you know that there are 1 billion acres of deserted farmland across the entire globe? Fortunately, there are numerous organizations like Cascadian Farms with missions to restore farmland out there so it can be brought back to productive use. So you can support those kind of projects by looking for those types of products at the grocery store. And those are just the little tips that you can have to remember to recenter on your eco-conscious mindset. Now, Kristy, let's recenter on a more global, historical mindset on where we all fit in this world.
One little point there is in terms of like rehabilitating degraded soil and, deserted farmland. Think about things like the study in Honduras or Belize where they put all the droppings from sun-kissed orange juice makers, or the coffee ground experiment that we wrote about a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah. Ooh, and I found out locally there is an organization that takes yard clippings and makes them into mulch. And so it's a local, so I found somebody to do it. And now I just need to find a dude with a truck or a lady with a truck to help me
deliver it for you.
36 bags out of my yard. But I did find somewhere that we can actually mulch our yard clippings. So
wonderful. And so being conscious like that is super important. But as we all know, it's going to take all of us, and it's going to take a lot of heavy lifting to really move towards a zero carbon future, which is what we have to do if we want this planet to remain a viable place for us humans.
Exactly. And this article is about not being overwhelmed by the concept, but recognizing there are small things you can do every day. And if we all do them together, we will get where we need to go.
And I like how you started it, where you building it back into our daily habits. Because our daily habits have really changed over this last year. Looking forward to having our offices reopen in May. Once all the staff members are fully vaccinated. That's what we're looking at now. What does that mean? And how is that going to change in terms of my driving, in terms of my, getting up and having to, get dressed for work? That's
your 7 cups of Keurig coffee.
Well, I probably won't do that. I'm at a place now where I don't like the experience of that. And, I talked about going into a vegan I'm doing all vegan right now, and I just feel so much better about myself and about what I'm doing. But that's a small thing. But in order for us to really move towards a zero carbon future, we're going to have to change things up and down the spectrum. And the article that I wanted to highlight today talks a little bit about this, and I found it really interesting. It's our Thought Leader series on today's Friday, about tribal nations paving a path to renewables. And I don't know if people realize this, but for the last 50 years, a significant portion of Navajo and Hopi nations' incomes have come from coal leases on their lands, such as the Navajo Generating Station and Kayoneta coal mine. But those are facilities which are already winding down. Coal is no longer the cost-effective option compared to renewables. And also that income is drying up. So renewable startups are starting to slowly take their place in the Hopi and Navajo nations. But outside investment will significantly scale up that profitability and reliability. But in the meantime, the local tribes are really starting to take that, sort of looking towards the future and getting in alignment with just being stewards of the environment. We shared a story last year about Native Renewables, which is a female-led company providing renewable energy to the Navajo Nation, and it's with small-scale independent solar grids. That's a sort of a startup and a bootstrap kind of an organization, which we were very happy to celebrate on the Optimist Daily. But there's more work that is starting to be done, and this article features two filmmakers and a film that they're putting together. Paul Hurt, who's a professor of history and sustainability at Arizona State University, and Roger Sorkin, who's founder and executive director of American Resilience Project. They've got a wonderful film which is out, and you can get a screening of it online. And I've had the chance to watch it. It's really interesting. But they highlight this transition on the tribal lands from coal generation and income from that coal generation towards a sustainable future using renewable infrastructure. Salt River Project and Arizona Public Service are stepping up to aid in this transition. SRP, that Salt River Project, has offered to provide retraining and relocation assistance to employees from the Navajo Generating Station. And then there's a lot of educational and economic development assistance to the Native American communities who are looking to expand their renewables infrastructure. So there's some movement in this direction, and I just like this article because it really highlights the deep thinking in this one area. We always think of the coal miners in Appalachia and the sort of the Appalachian mountain chain in eastern Pennsylvania and West Virginia as where the coal is. But actually, the western United States has quite a bit of coal infrastructure, which is starting to fail. And the communities that have been built up around that really are going to be suffering as that income dries up. But the opportunities are tremendous, however. There's more jobs already in wind and solar in this country than there are in fossil fuel-based electrical generation. And that is the way that the world is shifting, not just the United States. And if we're going to be leaders in the next century, that's where we have to put our energy and our transition. I just think this is a great article. It's a pretty long article, so I can't do much more to it here, but I do recommend everybody get online today and read this article. And then
this exactly, it's
conscious consumer.
Exactly. You can actually get clarity on my article as well. But what I like about this article is a reminder that all organizations, all municipalities, all communities, everyone has to make better choices, and that there are economically viable ways to make better choices. So There are amazing other stories on the Optimist Daily today. I actually love this headline. This simple solution uses flowers to recycle wastewater in your home. Definitely a good read. There is a new blood test that could offer more personalized depression treatment. And normalizing and having continued discussions about mental health, depression, using therapy or depression treatment is something we really believe in at the Optimist Daily, because we believe a healthy mental community, a mental health awareness is so essential to the growth of our viable communities. There is an ambient music that comes from an unexpected spooky source. And goodbye graffiti, there is a new hydrogel that removes unwanted paint in minutes. Kristy, what else do we have?
Other headlines today. This algae-based sequin dress is 100% biodegradable, so you can go out dancing and then bury it in your backyard.
So when I read this headline, I was like, it immediately made me think of this sequin dress that was blue and black or white and gold.
Oh, yes, the dress.
What if they could make an optical illusion sequin dress that's also biodegradable? It would be great.
All right. Nature is taking center stage in this redevelopment project in Tokyo. Central Park and other open spaces are about to get an organic upgrade. And kauri trees provide rare glimpse into Earth's ancient climate. That's a story from New Zealand, which is really fascinating, from Vox, that we picked it up from there. But that is what we have today on the Optimist Daily Update. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here with us on this Friday. And we are promising to continue to share these positive solution-based stories with ideas on how you can participate in this changing world to ensure it is changed for the good. We promise to keep covering current events, accuracy, legitimate sources, and digging out that information that you need most to help chart new paths for all of us.
Everybody, if you have time over the weekend, please, please, please consider becoming an emissary on the Optimist Daily. And for just $5, $15, or $50 a month, you can support reader-funded independent journalism. Be part of the solution, changing consciousness and addressing our world's biggest challenges with a problem-solving mindset. Let's keep the Optimist Daily free to all who need it, supported by those who can. Have a great weekend, everybody. We will see you on Monday.